The story I'm gonna be telling you take a place around 3 years ago as of today. I haven't told many people about this story because it's something I try to forget. Here's my story. It was a Sunday evening, 4th of July. I still remember that fateful night when I found myself immersed in a spine-chilling horror story that unfolded on the open road. It was a moonless night, the darkness swallowing everything in its path as I embarked on a solitary night drive. Little did I know that this journey would forever etch a terrifying tale into the depths of my soul. As the engine hummed beneath the hood, I felt a sense of unease creep over me. The winding road stretched out before me, disappearing into the black abyss. The only source of light was my headlights, cutting through the darkness like a thin lifeline. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles turning pale as the adrenaline coursed through my veins. The desolate road was flanked by dense woods, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands. Shadows danced on the periphery, teasing my peripheral vision. Goosebumps prickled on my skin as an eerie silence enveloped the air. It was as if the night itself held its breath, anticipating the horrors that awaited. As I continued my journey, a strange sensation washed over me. It felt as if unseen eyes were watching my every move from the depths of the forest. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, and a cold sweat trickled down my spine. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being hunted, stalked by an entity lurking in the darkness. A sudden chill permeated the car, despite the heater blowing at full blast. The radio crackled to life, emitting distorted whispers that sent shivers down my spine. The words were incomprehensible, a haunting symphony of disembodied voices. Panic welled up within me, threatening to consume my sanity. Then, out of nowhere, a figure appeared in the middle of the road. My heart lodged itself in my throat as I slammed on the brakes, the screeching tires echoing in the night. The figure stood motionless, its features obscured by the shadows. Fear paralyzed me as I waited for the inevitable impact, but as my car came to a halt, the figure vanished into thin air. Shaken but determined, I pressed on, desperate to escape the clutches of this nightmarish ordeal. But no matter how far I drove, the surroundings remained eerily familiar. It was as if the road itself was conspiring against me, leading me deeper into a labyrinth of horror. Whispers filled the air, growing louder with each passing mile. They whispered my name, beckoning me to join them in the unknown. Dread coiled in the pit of my stomach, but I couldn't resist the morbid curiosity that propelled me forward. Time lost all meaning as I ventured deeper into the nightmarish abyss. Shadows danced on the edge of my vision, morphing into twisted forms that defied logic. The boundary between reality and nightmare blurred, and I questioned my own sanity. Finally, as despair threatened to consume me entirely, I stumbled upon a dilapidated motel. Its flickering neon sign offered a glimmer of hope in the suffocating darkness. I parked the car and cautiously entered the lobby, the creaking floorboards echoing my trepidation. The motel seemed frozen in time, an echo of a forgotten era. The air hung heavy with the stench of decay, and the flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. The reception desk stood empty, as if abandoned in haste. I hurriedly made my way to a room, seeking solace from the horrors that lurked outside. But as I closed the door behind me, a presence made itself known. Cold gusts of wind howled through the cracks, whispering malevolence in my ear. Shadows writhed on the walls, their ethereal dance captivating and terrifying. In a desperate attempt to escape, I recited a prayer I had long forgotten. The words tumbled from my trembling lips, resonating with a power I didn't know I possessed. The room shook violently, objects levitating and crashing against the walls. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the chaos subsided, leaving me in a state of shock and disbelief. When I stepped out of the motel, the first rays of dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and orange. The horrors of the night had receded, but their mark on my soul remained indelible. I drove away, forever changed by that haunting journey. To this day, I am haunted by the memories of that night drive. The line between reality and nightmare blurs in my mind, as if that wretched road still beckons me from the shadows. I can't help but wonder if my encounter was a mere figment of my imagination or a glimpse into a terrifying realm that exists just beyond our understanding. I've always had a fascination with horror stories, devouring countless books and movies that sent shivers down my spine. But little did I know that the most terrifying experience of my life would happen on a dark, desolate road one fateful night. It was a cool autumn evening when I found myself behind the wheel, driving through a dense forest. The moon was hidden behind a thick layer of ominous clouds, casting an eerie shadow over the landscape. I had chosen this route as a shortcut, hoping to save some time on my journey. As I drove deeper into the night, the road seemed to stretch into infinity. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. My mind began to wander, and a sense of unease settled over me. I couldn't help but feel like I was being watched. Suddenly, the headlights flickered, causing my heart to skip a beat. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, trying to shake off the growing sense of dread. But then, the headlights went out completely, plunging me into darkness. Panic washed over me as the car came to an abrupt halt. I fumbled for my phone, desperately trying to find some source of light. With trembling hands, I managed to illuminate the interior of the car. But what I saw outside sent a chill down my spine. Figures, shadowy and ethereal, began to emerge from the depths of the forest. They moved with an unnatural grace, their eyes reflecting a malevolent glow. My breath caught in my throat as I realized I was not alone. Something sinister lurked in the darkness, and I was its unwitting victim. Fear consumed me as the figures drew closer. I could hear their whispers, unintelligible yet filled with malice. The car's engine refused to start, leaving me trapped in a metal cocoon. I knew I had to escape, to run from this nightmarish scene, but my body refused to move. As the figures closed in, their presence became overwhelming. The air grew thick with a putrid stench, and a cold breeze sent shivers down my spine. I could feel their icy breath on my neck, their presence pressing against my very soul. With a surge of adrenaline, I forced myself out of the car, stumbling into the darkness. I ran blindly, branches clawing at my skin, the forest seemingly endless. Panic and exhaustion threatened to consume me, but I pushed forward, fueled by sheer terror. Finally, I stumbled upon a small clearing. I collapsed to the ground, gasping for air, my heart pounding in my chest. The figures had vanished, leaving me alone in the silence of the night. I didn't know if they were gone for good or if they were merely biding their time. As dawn broke, I made my way back to civilization. The events of that night haunted my every waking moment. I couldn't shake the feeling that the darkness was still watching, waiting for its next victim. Night driving became a thing of the past for me, a reminder of the horrors that lurk just beyond the reach of our senses. To this day, I can't explain what happened that night. Was it a product of my imagination or something far more sinister? All I know is that the horror of night driving forever changed me, leaving me with a deep-seated fear of the unknown and a chilling tale to share with others.